thinking about all the obstacles blocking the inner city children from fulfilling their potential, wondering where to find that break needed? Pause, think about it with considerable thought, and consider where we go from here. Join our co-sponsors, Dom Dev Enterprises and Page Investments, and our friends at Island News Realty, D1 Development, Sammy's Chicken, and Cara and the boys down there at West Bay Barbershop. Those are the ones who keep me sharp. And so this evening, we will have a lovely conversation with Therese, Desiree Taylor. Too many things happening today. We will be talking about scripting the journey from the inner city. Pause right now for this intro.
Something to think about with Dale Happy Knowles.
Welcome back to Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knowles. What we think, we become. What we radiate, we attract. And what we imagine, we surely can achieve. That's changed the narrative 242. And as I mentioned before, we have Ms. Therese Taylor on today, who will be discussing with us scripting our way out of the inner city. So welcome, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Knowles.
Good. My mouth will tie up right now, so I'm pronouncing your first name incorrectly.
Not a problem.
How do you pronounce it correctly?
Desiree.
Desiree. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I've been saying that all weekend. I don't know what in it. Things happen. So, as we said, we're going to have this conversation this evening. We hope that people will find value in it. And hopefully that at the end of the day, we all see how we can make ourselves become of greater value to society and also to ourselves. And so we could make steps towards our goals. And that's the purpose of the show, is to, particularly for the youth, to get them rolling in the direction that they want to go and take away all of the barriers that they seem to see in front of them. So friends out there, tell us where you're watching from. Anything you want to say, if sure to add your questions, your concerns, your advice. Yeah, we take advice too. And then we will have a joyful conversation. So Miss Taylor, or Mrs. Taylor, what should I say? Mrs. Taylor. Miss. Okay. So you are a very interesting character in the sense that you hail from an academic, from an educational background, being a public educator for many moons. You have your Bachelor's of Arts degree in primary education, which is significant because we find that we don't have many focusing in that field. But you've also done a wealth of I call it civic work with your church and schools and Golden Gates World Outreach Ministries and the New Life Ministries towards children and adults. And you've also been a product production manager and administrator for Dynamite Productions, Miss Daisy. And I think everybody knows who Miss Daisy is. But if you don't know, I think my producer has a picture to help people remember who it is. But that is a very successful program that was put on there, Dynamite Daisy. And I understand you are one of the major players behind the scenes, or even in the front of the scenes, for that program. Is that correct?
Well, the Dynamite Production Summer Camp, good afternoon, everybody, was a summer camp that we launched many, many months ago. Dynamite Production, like you said, everybody is familiar with Dynamite Daisy, but a lot of persons are not familiar that are not aware that the character itself is not the only thing that Dynamite Production. We also host a summer camp, a 6-week
Mhm.
summer production where we would have introduced children to the arts. So singing and drama and dancing, all those things. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we would have done that consecutive years. I can't remember how many consecutive years it was, but we would have done that to empower children, because the arts is a way for children to be more expressive. So you find children who are not really good communicators. They are, but they can express themselves on the stage, and so that was one of the objectives of the summer camp. And yes, I was the camp administrator for that camp for the consecutive years that it ran whilst I was at Dynamite Productions. Yes, sir.
Yes, awesome. And then now you've moved on the higher heights, as I would say, because you're the founder of Journeys International, licensed nonprofit here in Nassau, Bahamas. You want to tell us something about that? Because I think that's pretty notable.
Okay. Journeys International is an organization that was formed many years ago, about 6 years ago, and it was the reason why we started it was because we saw how many of our inner city children were falling between the cracks. And we realized, and I realized, and I guess the Lord realized, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm the founder of Journeys International. I believe the Holy Spirit, the founder. I am just the
Mhm.
facilitator. And so the Lord saw the need of the children in the inner city. And so he brought it in my heart. And he's been with me and been with my team. I have an awesome team, a very awesome team. I see some of them on this evening. We've been going in the inner city and trying to develop the whole child, not the academic child, not the spiritual child, not the child, the arts child, but the whole child. And I think that's
Mhm.
what kind of separate Journeys from other organizations. I don't want to say separate, but that's one of the things that I believe that the Lord has called us to do. Um, Minister or to the whole child, because it is
Right.
a ministry. Just like teaching is a ministry, it's not a profession for me or a job, it's a ministry. And I take it
Yeah.
very, very seriously.
Great, great, great. And I think right now we're in much need of that because with COVID being around and the Minister of Education was on show just now and she said that they're going to have to do an assessment of all of the students so they can see where they're at and be able to move forward. And so hopefully
Absolutely.
programs like your program would be a part of the moving forward because I see wisdom in that. And hopefully by the time if you finish this interview, other people will see wisdom in your programs and what you all do or what you do in particular. So
Absolutely.
we have this young lady by the name of Lorraine McDonald who from when she was doing her reading program, the volunteer reading program, she coined this term that says the child who is embraced by the village will cultivate the land. Now,
Absolutely.
you surely have are cultivating the land right now. So you can give that up a second. So, but my question is, were you embraced or who embraced you so that you can cultivate the land?
Okay, I will. I think, and see, this is why it's so important for me, because, first of all, I'm an inner city kid.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time. A lot of times when we get out of the inner city, we tend to get amnesia and we forget. But my prayer is always, Lord, help me to never forget, never forget.
Mm-hmm.
And then I too was a kid that had some learning struggles, and at times I felt as if I was gonna be nothing. I really
Mm-hmm.
felt within myself, even in coming through primary school, I really felt like, Lord, what am I going to do? But I had some teachers, and I have to call their names. I have some persons I
Mm-hmm.
have to call their names. I had teachers like Michelle Dames, if I'm not mistaken. She's at oh, I forgot what school she's at now. And it's the school right there that's in anyway, they're closed now. So Michelle Dames, I had teachers like Janice Hardy at Sage Reeves. I had people like the Cora McPhee, who
Mm-hmm.
even when I came out of school, Cora McPhee was my PA leader. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get into COP because I didn't have any I didn't have any G's. It was GCEs then.
Right,
But she
right. Mm-hmm.
saw something in me, and she said to me, she said, she said, you can go far. She said, I just see the potential. And so what she did, she enrolled me in the Bahamas Baptist College. I think it may have been in the year 1991, when I think they were just coming, just getting started. And she
Mm-hmm.
enrolled me in the Bahamas Community College, and that's where I got my start. Was not smart, or I thought so. Or let me put it like this,
Mm-hmm.
not that I wasn't smart. I thought I wasn't smart, but I had some
Mm-hmm.
teachers, I had some people that looked outside of what I
Mm-hmm.
could see. And they invested their time, and they invested their encouragement. And that's how come I can say, and I will, the Lord will charge me if I don't call Canetta Ferguson. Canetta, everybody know her as a minister in the Church of God of Prophecy, but she was another person that even when I had my associate's degree, she said to me, this ain't enough. You're too
Mm-hmm.
smart to just be teaching on the island with an associate's degree. You're going back to Nassau and you're going to do your bachelor's. And that's how come I am where I am today. And I'm really grateful
Mm-hmm.
for those people, persons.
Yes. Great. And so why primary school in particular as a focus versus just general education?
I believe foundation is key in everything we do. If you're going to build a house, you're going to make sure the foundation is sturdy. You're going to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
foundation is level. And so sometimes, and then the Bible says, and I'm sorry, my trust will always take me back to that,
No,
because
no,
that's
no need to
where
apologize. Yeah.
that's the foundation. The Bible says we are to bend or to prune or to nurture the tree whilst it is young, and then when it's
Mm-hmm.
old, it won't depart. And I believe that sometimes we're waiting too late. Not so much too late, we're waiting late. It takes a longer time, or it's more difficult for you to kind of like prune that tree. Or if that tree is
Mm-hmm.
growing this way, if you want that tree to grow this way, if you get that tree young, you would be able to structure that tree and guide that tree. And it's the same thing with the house, your foundation. If you get the pipes in the wrong place in your foundation, your whole house is in trouble. And so I
Right.
believe that the educational system in our country, our focus needs to be, we need a stronger focus at the foundational level, which
Mm-hmm.
is primary education. We want to give the children the plumbing and the all those things in secondary, but we've already lost a whole lot of them by grade 6. And I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
especially inner city children. And so that's where I believe that's why the foundation is key if we're going to get this nation educational system and educational results on the right track.
Yeah, now you mentioned foundation a couple of times, and I'm a foundational type person, so I'm going to get back to that in a second. But in your bio, you referenced that I might be misquoting it, that you were the key to unlock the doors to allowing the children to fulfill their potential, the inner city children in particular. Because I mean, you've been on the Family Islands, I'm in education in Nassau, or in Providence, it's a technical term, but the why you feel you um, are the key. Yeah.
I think that the quote would have said, I believe I have the key,
Oh,
not
you
that
have
I
the key.
am the
Yeah.
key. And I
Okay.
believe that many of us have the key, and the key is simply it's many keys, but it's from one master key. And the key
Mm-hmm.
simply is to train the child and they should go. And the Bible
Mhm.
says, and when that child is old, he's not going to depart from it. And what happens is, so many of us have the key. We have the
Mhm.
ability to train, we have the ability to invest, we have the ability to go into schools or start after school programs. But you know what we decide to do? We decide to be a part of the people who are going to sit on the side and talk about the problem and not become persons who are going to be part of the solution. And I believe one of the keys, or the key, is we have training children. And
Mhm.
I will say this too, Mr. Knowles.
Mhm.
Women can raise boys, but they can't train them. Or
Mhm.
I shouldn't say they can't train them. I think it's harder for women to train them. I see it in my school. I am what I
Mhm.
call a hard taskmaster. I think that I'm a hard taskmaster when it comes down, because I live in the inner city. I lived in the
Mhm.
inner city, and I lived there because that's where I teach. You can
Right.
pass me. I'm at Stephen Dillard, or I would be there on a Saturday and a Sunday if I have to be there. And so I see what is happening. We need
Mhm.
more men. We need more men to come and grab one of those keys and come help us train these boys, help us to invest in these boys, help us to empower these boys, because the women can do the girls. We really can. But I couldn't tell the
Mhm.
boys about boat building. I couldn't tell them about carpentry because I don't know that. But I thank
Right.
God for people like Dwayne Higgins, who has been like a super support for
Mhm.
me in terms of helping and also Leonardo Burrows, excellent men of valor, men who are investing in the inner city boys.
Mhm. Yes, that's awesome. Awesome. So when we talk about the foundation, you spoke of it and you indicated in terms of training the children and they won't stray away from it, so forth. So why the foundation and not the finished product? Because we tend to, when children go or people go for an interview, everybody want to know what's their finished product. But you are focusing on the actual foundation, which to me is key. So why do you also agree that that's key?
The foundation for me, Mr. Knows, the foundation will actually almost dictate what the finished product is going to be. Unfortunately, we don't see that.
Right.
Sometimes we don't give the children the foundation, and then we expect when they get 18 we're looking for finished product. You don't see a
Mm-hmm.
finished product if there's no foundational skill, there's not a proper foundation laid there. And so we listen, it's almost like what we do. Everybody eat a
Mm-hmm.
heavy dinner and they eat breakfast very small. But if
Mm-hmm.
you look at how it's supposed to be, you're supposed to eat a heavy breakfast. You're supposed to eat like a king when it's
Mm-hmm.
breakfast time. And at dinner time, you eat small because you're getting ready to go to bed. You understand? And so what we're doing is we're doing it in the reverse. We're doing it if we give our children the foundation, if we give them the math
Mm-hmm.
skills, when they get 18, when they get 16, if we give them skills where they can build from primary
Mm-hmm.
school, if we give them the gentleman skills, we don't have to worry. But when they get 12, that they have no manners,
Right.
and they why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to set the foundation. And so foundation for me is key. I would take them as early as 3 months, or as early as that. That sounds crazy, but but a little
Mm-hmm.
exaggerating. But I believe that foundation is key in everything we do.
Yeah, I had the I don't know, call it a privilege, but to go to QC, and Mr. Middleton was our headmaster when I first went there, and he always says, "Man is maketh man." And
Absolutely.
it was one thing I learned at QC was that statement, and I might remember nothing else that happened there at that time,
Absolutely.
and so forth, but I remember that and so forth.
Mhm.
And so, Ken Simmons, your number one cheerleader for the day, is saying that you are truly ordained and called and anointed for the children's ministry. And so, I guess that's a tip of the hat for you and what you are doing. Now, as we look at the Dynamite Daisy that we mentioned before, you said many of those are familiar with that, but that's really an elite production. when you look at the total product that comes to the table at the end of the day. And so my hat to you and all of the others who put that together, and so forth. So I wouldn't expect anything different, knowing that you are part of that operation in what you're doing now. And so what we would ask is that was very successful in my eyes in captivating the audience. And as far as I know from people like Les Brown and the rest of them, you have to captivate your audience, and in your case, it would be the children, to be able to teach them. Because if they don't have that attention to you, then they won't be able to do so. So how best do you go about doing that for persons who might struggle to have consistent attention given to them?
I will tell you this, Mr. Knows, the message that remains the same, but the method that we use is constantly changing. And we will if the pandemic has taught us nothing else, it should have taught us that the methodologies that we're using is changing. Now, what makes journeys kind of different? It's because you got to think outside the box for children. Listen, I tell my children every day at school, I said, listen, your teacher's an old woman now, almost 100 years old. They laugh. I have Sammy in my class, but I can tell you, I cannot teach Sammy the way I taught one of my children 5 years ago, because Sammy's exposure is different. And so what it means is that I have to constantly, almost every year, and again, I can't move past this. The Holy Spirit have to actually inspire me, and he has to give me fresh ideas, new ideas, because yesterday lesson for these children just ain't good enough for today. Because remember, they are in this world where it's constantly changing. And so we have to constantly change with the time. So what are we doing? We have to constantly change the method. And so almost every year, we change our program. We're constantly changing programs. We're constantly changing, looking at what worked, and that worked 2 years ago, but that's not going to work this year. Why? And I think what makes it easier for me is because every day I before my audience that I'm called to. And so every day I'm looking at what is new, not working for them. I think that's what helping. That's what helping me. Teachers, ministers, churches, church ministry, children's ministry, youth ministry. I will say this to you: if you want an effective, productive ministry, and even teaching is a ministry. I think more persons need to know that teaching is a ministry rather than a profession. If you're called to it, you have to constantly be changing. It is constantly evolving. And yet still, even though it's evolving, it's never, you don't know what the finished product is going to be. You can make a projection. You can have some goals, but it's constantly changing. Thinking out of the box, doing out of the box things. I'll tell you, I think right before the pandemic in 2019 or 2018, if I'm not mistaken, we took a group of 40 inner city children to Washington, D.C. Now, when we first started when the Holy Spirit told me this is what we're going to do, everybody was like, that don't make sense. Where you going to find this money? Where you going the Jewish children, they don't have passports. Then they need visas. How they get these visas? That was not, listen, I don't borrow trouble from tomorrow. That was secondary. All I knew is this is what we need to start moving, and we have to start walking towards it. And can I tell you, every child, we had some issues. We had plenty days trying to get visas and trying to get passports and calling the passport office. But every child that started on that journey ended in Washington. And that was an experience that later on, if you invite me back, that's a whole show experience. But yeah, so that's what it is. You have to change the methodology.
Awesome. So on that same note, then you mentioned a lot of entities, organizations, and stuff like that. But wouldn't that also apply to parents? Because we have some parents, I believe, who still say, "Well, when I was young, my parents used to do it this way and do it that way, and they expect to continue doing that same method of rearing a child, which is to be is teaching." What would you say to them in that respect?
And this, I will tell people all the time. I tell people all the time, my mommy had 5 girls. There was 5 of us. And I love my mommy dearly, but I could tell sweet Jesus, some of the things, the way my mommy raised us, I could tell the great master. No, mm-mm. And so I would say to parents, and I think this is why organizations are important, because a lot of times people are only doing what they know. And so if you have an organization that's going to say to them, and I have parents come to school all the time and they want to kill these children. I have a little boy in my class right now named Sammy. If you go to my Facebook page, it's the Chronicles of Sammy. Every day is something different. But I will tell you, with Sammy, what people in Facebook and other persons may feel as if is talking back is Sammy's way of being expressive. And so we have to teach our parents, we have to teach our older people. And can I tell you, even our teachers, we have to teach our teachers that things are changing now. The old way, we gotta kind of look at some things differently. Why? Not because our children, we want to make them spoiled or we want to make them, listen, what you learned 10 years ago in aviation, I'm going to tell you, if you're still learning that 10 years and you aren't updating, upgrading, I'm going to tell you, you're going to cause some planes to crash and cause some things to happen. And that's the same thing that's happening with our children. Again, education. We have to educate our parents because they just don't know. A lot of our parents don't know. My mom right now with her great grandchildren, because her grandchildren, with her great grandchildren, I have to say, no, mommy, no, I don't want this little boy. I say, no, mommy, he's a little boy. And these are some things we have to do differently because we're in a different era. So again, and to Mr. Nose, I will tell you this. Our parents are younger. As a matter of fact, most of the children in my class, I could be their great grandmother. One child told me today, he said, my mommy is only 24. I say, great peace and master, right? And so what's happening is we have to educate because even the younger parents, they really didn't have time to learn what it is to be a parent. And so educate round and round is key. Round and round is key.
And actually, we had a few years ago, there was some talk that we had grandparents who were like in the 26s, 27s age group. So that makes it even more so. So in your experience, we have our system of education pretty much has a lot of academic type activities where you sit as a chair, somebody speak to you, they tell you this, and you're supposed to learn it. But I find that most of us have, I guess, came from an environment where we were more kinetic in our actions and movement than being academic or scholarly, per se. So how do you find the children today? How do they learn the best? Is it the old traditional way, or is it hands-on? Is it movement, action, singing? What you finding?
Yeah. What I found out too, what I'm understanding too is we're learning more and more in the education field about learning styles. And I think what happened was in the old days, our teachers, they didn't know about learning styles. They didn't know about the kinesthetic child and the visual audio child and all these different things that we know now. And so everybody was made to sit in the front of a chair. And you listen, there are some children who weren't learning because they couldn't see. There are some children who were learning because guess what? They need to touch in order to learn. Again, our teachers did not know. Our parents did not know, and some still don't know, and some know and still don't want to know. And so I'm finding our children, our modern day children, our children of this century or this generation, They need more hands-on on activity. Tell me, and I may remember. Show me, and yeah, I probably. But if I experience it, listen, anything you do, you will
Mhm.
never, ever, ever, ever forget. And so, guess what? On a birthday time, they baking cake. The girls ain't gonna never
Mhm.
forget how to put that cake mixes. You know, I ain't gonna have no flour and sugar. I can get one cake mix box and I can show them how to mix that so no lumps will be in it. But they are doing it.
Mhm.
And you'll find the Journeys International, we do a summer school every year. So every year, our summer school, and I think if we would set a curriculum like this in the government schools or in schools in particular, I believe we'll have more success. If we successful passes, if we allow our children in the mornings, because see in the mornings your brain is ticking, it's percolating, you just got up, you rested, and so you're more able or more ready to sit down and hear for a while.
Mhm.
So what happens
Mhm.
is if we do let our children do some sitting down academics in the morning, let's say from 9 to 11 or 9 to 12, whatever, but in the afternoon, let them use their hands, let them get out in the
Mhm.
garden and grow some stuff, let the boys do painting. Listen, we ain't got to pay for painters. If we got all these boys in school, they could paint every government building for free. The government could save some money, right? So let them use their hands, and whilst they're using their hands, we're
Mhm.
teaching them a skill. And I'm going to
Mhm.
tell you, if you get the children using their abilities and their hands, you'll solve so many problems, not just the academic problem, you'll solve a social
Mhm.
problem. You would solve problems like children. You solve problems like children getting in problems. And in this
Mhm.
inner city, I will tell you why the children are getting in problems because they're idle. They're
Right.
idle. And a lot of them, not because they're not smart, but we've not done anything to foster what they're smart at. So I was never a
Mhm.
good reader. And right now I am so grateful for Google. I Google everything. Listen, I say,
Mhm.
Sammy, Google that for your teacher because your teacher can't spell that. But watch this.
Mhm.
If you take me and you give me something else to do that I'm good at, I'm going to excel in that. Again, I'm keep my message, and I wish this could go around the world. We got to cater to the whole child.
Right.
Yes, we need to
Right.
teach them how to read. Yes, we need to teach them how to add. Yes, we need to teach them, but there's some other stuff that we have to cater to the whole child, and that's what we're missing. The whole child.
Right. And I ask you these questions because I want us to have an appreciation that it's, in my view, particularly that these are the areas through which we need to make adjustments because that's going to help the children
Absolutely,
to be better suited in
absolutely,
order to achieve their goals and aspirations that they want. Because when they're doing things that they like, then they will do it
absolutely.
with more enthusiasm and so forth.
Mhm.
So you say shout out to all of those who are commenting on the page. We will get to a lot of your questions as we go into the second half of the show. But you see Lorraine McDonald here saying that you are passionate and a purpose to serve children. Amazing lady, and I don't know. You need to run for politics because you're getting a lot of tip of the hats and pom raising and hey going on here, which is good. And I'm sure the children are more so would be raising their banners for you. So tell us what is blocking innocent children from access to fulfilling their purpose. What um, yeah, that's what we're doing.
I'll tell you, one thing is blocking them: opportunity.
Mm,
Opportunity. I mean, one major thing. The playing field, and I've been saying this for years, is not level when it comes down to opportunities. And it's so sad because yes, they are unpolished. A whole lot of them are unpolished, but they are unpolished because we've not given them the opportunity to be polished. We've not
mm,
given them the opportunity that the children at others at private schools and even other government schools that are considered elite schools have. Why? Because sometimes it's more trouble to give them opportunities than it is to
mm,
not give them opportunities. And unfortunately, we got to, I tell people all the time, God took a chance on me. because I have a problem with my mouth. I ask the Lord every day, every morning when I pray, I say, dude, don't let my mouth get in trouble today, because every time it's time to speak for children, I'm going to speak for them. But my thing is opportunities, even with the Journeys organization. I felt as if the organization was something that was great. I think that it was something that the inner city people, I thought that was something that people would say, wow, we see this program and we think that this could work and we want to jump on, but we've not had the opportunity. We've not been given that opportunity. So I can almost identify with what the inner city children go through. Listen, and it's so sad, and the opportunities are great out there, but why aren't they given the same opportunity as other children? Why? I think sometimes too we label our inner city children. We label them, and unfortunately, labels carry through life. They carry through life, and so these children. And then what happens is, the children become what you label them. So if you label them troublemaker, if you say you label the children from Baintown, you label the children from Camp Road, and so they're going to become what you hear, what they hear. And I heard something today that was so powerful. All children are equal. I listen, when it comes down, I am fighting for all children. But if you have a neighborhood filled with houses and you call the fire truck, which house is the fire truck going to go to? The fire truck is going to go to the house where the fire is, where they can see the blaze coming from. I think it's time for some people to call the fire truck, because we got some children that's on fire. And I believe that the Lord has called some of us to be fire trucks. We can out the fire before it destroys the house. And I'm trusting the Lord, and I'm believing that the Lord is going to send some fire trucks for our inner city children.
So folks, we're listening to some of the things about what Dale Happy knows here with the Red Taylor. And what we want you to know is that we were almost about to the point of passing the collection plate, but we'll do that in the second half of the show. But before we go to our commercial break, then what we would like to do is to ask the audience that what are the bricks that you're touring at Journey International that we can take in order to build a bigger person? So what is it that you feel that they can do differently or more of, and so forth, to help them become better at what Ms. Taylor is here passionately expressing? So with that, Madam Producer, we'll be right back.
Sammy's Chicken. There's nothing like it.
This is Coach Denzel Knowles, founder and head coach at 242 Elite. I just wanted to talk to you guys about our first trip in program history to Orlando, Florida. On this trip, we went, like I said, to Orlando, Florida from July 1st to August 3rd. We played in 5 tournaments. We had at least 5 or 6 scrimmages. Came up with at least 25 games for the month. On top of that, the guys had workouts with prep school coaches. They had a few college coaches watch them, and 5 out of 9 of our guys have interest from prep schools and college programs thus far from the trip. I think it was a great experience for the guys. It was a great experience for myself. I was very proud of our guys. We had guys who were underage playing. We had some guys that even had their first time playing basketball, organized basketball this year. We came up with 2 second place and 1 first place. I think we did, again, pretty well. We hope to see the program strive. We're hoping to find a permanent sponsor to make this a regular thing. and to keep it going and keep helping our youth get better opportunities and follow their dreams. We want to say thank you to all our sponsors, everybody that donated, and we couldn't have done it without y'all. So again, thank you, and we hope to see you guys again soon when we go off, hopefully in December.
Welcome back to Something to Think About with Dale Happy Knows. We're here this evening with Desiree Taylor of Journey International, and what we've been talking about is scripting our way for the inner city children to achieve their potential. And we all know that they're all ordained because God put us all here perfect and independent and unique. And so we all have specific gifts and purposes that needs to be revealed, and so forth. And if you want to partner with Mrs. Taylor and the Journey International, be sure to hit her up on the, you can call her or WhatsApp her, and then so forth. And the producer will put up the contacts on the screen as we proceed on the show. So, Madam Taylor, how are you doing? You back? Can you hear me?
I'm back, sir.
Okay,
I'm back.
great.
I am back. I'm
Awesome.
ready to roll.
Right. So as we're talking now, what we talk about these opportunities that people can do in order to help in the process. What would you say to them, whether they are physically helping or just being extensions and operating as a mirror of what you're doing at your program? How would you assist them? Because some persons are in the same island, some are in different islands.
I'm glad that you brought the opportunity topic back up. Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't even say unfortunately. Fortunately, we are based in Nassau, in New Providence, and we're believing that the Lord will, of course, establish branches out in the islands, because I believe that children are the same everywhere. But opportunity, I want to say thank you to Miss Lisa Snow, and I think Lisa just got married, so she changed her name on me. So she's Lisa Snow Nixon from Evolve, and she gave our children. For about the last 6 years, Lisa has been giving our children opportunities to learn to swim, and I'm not just talking about just throwing the crumbs to the children, because sometimes that's what happens. People, they come in the inner city, they give the inner city children the leftovers. No. Lisa has given my children Lisa Snow Nixon. I have to keep on calling Nixon because she got a husband now, you know. But Lisa's given my children professional service when it comes down to swimming. And so it means that all of the children at Journeys International, and sometimes we have up to, I think there's sometimes up to 80 children, to 80 children that Lisa has been providing swimming opportunities for. So that is something that I want to say. You know, how do you create an opportunity? You create opportunity based on what you can do. And Lisa is the swimming. I think she's in charge of swimming, the lead coach at Evolve, and she's been making it happen. When I say making it happen, she has been making it happen. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know how Lisa do it. Lisa is one of those persons that will go and why? That's an opportunity. That's an opportunity that she's creating for my kids. And we're doing something right now where we're trying to sponsor 40 scholarships for our children to go swimming starting in January. Then we have the opportunity where the Ministry of Education has granted us permission to use their hub. For the last I don't know how many years, I guess we could say 4 or 5 years, the Marjorie Davis Institution, we've been granted permission from the Ministry of Education to use that as our hub.
Okay.
Journey's organization, we don't have any money. But people would come in and we thank people like Lombard organization, Offshore Bank. They sponsored the payment of our teachers because our teachers are paid. This is not an organization where we asking people to do things for free. If you want quality, you can get what you pay for.
Right.
And we could not get volunteers to come and help us. And so we had to get teachers to come in and we paid them. And and Lombard ensured that our teachers were paid in the summer. And so we want to say thank you to those persons. They provided the opportunities.
So what would a day be like at the program? Yeah.
Okay, so Journeys International, we meet twice a week. We meet on Saturdays. Could you believe it? Lorraine said something to me today. She said, I pray one of these days you just get a time to spoil yourself and get some times where you could just treat yourself and relax. I pray, Lauren, too, for that day. But until such a day, this is how we running it. So on Saturdays, well, since the pandemic, we're not doing the Saturday program face-to-face. But our program runs on Saturdays from 9 to 2 every Saturday. Even on midterm break and not on Christmas holidays, but in the summer we run a program every day. So we run on Saturdays from 9 to 2, and then one day through the week we run. And the day through the week is really starting to for us to run it because we're starting a band. Why? Because the arts is an expressive way for our children to express themselves, to learn a trade, to make some money. Listen, you may not be able to add and read and get a bachelor's or even an associate's degree, but if you know how to play a musical instrument, you could make some money. You could make a profession out of that. And so we're starting, when we get back face to face, we're going to be meeting. We're going to change, well, we're not sure exactly yet if we're going to change the place, our meeting place, but our children it's growing. And so we may need a better place to facilitate them. And so we meet on Thursdays from about 3:30 until 5:30.
So place is one. So what would be like 2 or 3 other major needs?
I will tell you again, funding for our programs is always big. Is always big. We definitely, if somebody could give me a place to host Journeys, listen, I say lend me a place. Give me one place. I know plenty people listen, Mr. Happy, I know plenty happy people out there watching your show. And I know all the millionaires and the billionaires. Oh, give me one place to host the Lord's children, right? And so we need a place. We're still looking for musical instruments. We have to pay for these things. So if you have a store, if you have a musical instrument, or you know how we can get some musical instrument, we need all musical instrument. We need that. Then we want to feed the children, because guess what? If they're coming to us and they're hungry, they're not learning. Some of the children, even Jesus said, some of the people following him, they follow him for the word, but most follow him for the fish and the bread. But when they come for the fish and the bread, they can get something. And so we want to feed them when they come. We want to make sure that they have something to eat. So when they go home, we want to ensure that they're not going to bed hungry. Then we need transportation. If somebody has a bus, because we got to bus these children to swimming, we got to bus them to boat building, we got to bus them, and all of these things are things we got to pay for. We have to pay for these things. So there are some needs that very, very needed right now. We also, Journeys International, all through the pandemic for the last 2 years, we've also have a feeding program. So we want to ensure that our children are able to eat, because if they're hungry, they're not going to survive. So every week we make sure that we care. And listen, I'm not, and I keep on saying this. I thought for the people that's giving out the care packs and they give out the grits and the rice and, but there are some other things that children need. Parents need soap. They need soap for their children to bathe. They need, we got to be realistic. And, some people just believe that it's just feeding the children. We have some teenage children and some primary school children, some females that need some female products that, that we got to look into, and also we still have some children who need tablets, and we have houses without electricity and without
Internet.
Wi-Fi. So if anybody out there have internet boxes that they could program for us, we'll be sure to get them into the right hands. Trust me. And Journeys International is an organization that's on integrity. We believe that we answer to the Lord first. And so we want never trip nobody. We want to make sure that whatever we do, the Lord is pleased with it.
All right. So David Brinkley, the newscaster, he says a successful man is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at him. And obviously, whatever bricks people throwing at you, you just grabbing them and building up this stately edifice of a child into whatever their potential is. So, what is that potential that you see that they have, that the children have? Yeah.
Happy, I will tell you this. Every potential is a little different. And I think that we have to understand that. And for me, the potential is success. And what success looks like, it's always different. Because a successful plumber is just as important to me or as equally important as a successful doctor. And so when people start talking about what is success, success for me is ensuring that children reaches their full potential. A child may not want to, if they are the best painter that they can be, that's success for me. If they are a child that moved from an A to a D, from an E to a D, that's success for me. How we grade success in this country has to be changed. It really has to be changed. We only see the doctors and the nurses and the teachers, and we think that's success. That's not success. A lot of those in those professions, they're not even happy, even though they're making money. But success is whatever the child's potential is. Once they can meet that, that's success for me.
Awesome. And so, in doing that now, that access, because we're talking about scripting the way to release the access and give the access to these children to be able to achieve these goals. And like, what is the significant difference that you're seeing between what the inner city child is faced with and what somebody who's not a part of the inner city, whether it's a middle class or upper class or whatever class other than people in the inner city? What's their major differences or challenges?
I'll tell I can't get away from this. The major difference again is opportunity. Opportunity. I will be honest with you. The opportunities that the children are in the middle class and I will say this. This is personal to me. This is personal to me because I could remember I went to E.P. Roberts Primary, and then from then I went to C.H. Reed from grade 7 to grade 12. That's when C.H. Reed was the secondary school. And I went there and I looked around and there are classes within classes, if that makes sense. You can go in the inner city, and in the inner city, you got the low class, and then you got the medium low class, and then you get the high low class. And so what happens is the low class, see, because I know what it is to use the outside toilet. So in the inner city, people consider the low class. And then my neighbor right next door to us, they had inside plumbing. So they was considered a high class. Again, opportunities. That's what we're doing for our children. We create opportunities. Now I tell my children, every opportunity I have, if an opportunity is extended to you, and you don't accept that opportunity or you don't embrace that opportunity, the only person who you have to blame is yourself. So opportunity is what I would say I see as the major barrier between the middle class and the upper class and the lower class children. An excuse too, because we find that people in the inner city, they want you to feel sorry for them. Buddy, ain't nobody was feeling sorry for me. My mommy say, get your skin. Listen, I remember I came out of school in 1990. My mommy said, decide what you're gonna do because you ain't gonna be laying down in my house having no baby. Decide what you could do. My mommy, my parents did not allow me to make an excuse. They didn't allow me to make an excuse. And so a lot of the problems too in the inner city too, people making it where they are. Oh, we don't, the MP, no. That's an excuse. What do you do where you are? And that's what we try to train our children. There's no, an excuse is just a polished lie. That's I got that from my pastor. An excuse is a polished lie. So if you make an excuse, that's just a lie polished. There is a way out. You can get out. What are you willing to do?
Right. Well, Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson is an example of that also. I mean, he might have some political views that a lot of people might have the challenges with, but when you look at his story in terms of him growing up in the middle of the projects in the United States, and his mom sheltering them and getting them into the books, and he said that the environment of the child does not have to be the environment of the external.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what you were speaking to particularly.
Absolutely.
So as we have talked a lot about about the whole situation, we want to show you or show the other because I know these pictures, and you could talk us through some of these that was happening before we wrap up the show. So what's happening with these? Because my understanding is all of these pictures are part of your program. Or came out of
absolutely. These pictures. Some of these pictures are from our summer program that ran for 6 weeks. Yeah. So and that's just this year's summer program. Yeah.
Okay. And so these were what they were doing sailing. They've been taught.
This was the sailing. This is absolutely the boys in the afternoons. They went to sailing, and that's Mr. Dwayne Higgins, who has been a great support of our program. And he is actually the person that's teaching them sailing, because it's important for them to know, and they are very interested in it. And he also taught boat building too. Yeah.
And when you say they're very interested in it now, I know when I used to play baseball, I used to bathe my baseball bat, I used to sleep with my baseball bat and stuff. So when they get involved, the children get involved with these programs, how is their energy and their zeal and their timeliness? Because I find when children want to do what they want to do, they are on time, and there's no beating around, slunking on it.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, because this is held in the afternoons. They went to boat building in the afternoons. I will tell you, on the days when it was boat building that the boys had to go to, they were the only mornings I remember to take my vitamin, because every child got there for time. I was like, wow. And listen, when that bus got there, and I gotta send a shout out to Mr. Yellow, our bus driver. He was awesome. When that bus got there in the morning at 8:45, all the children that were dragging at 9:15, and they come look at, they was there. So I believe some of them slept to the school, but they're excited. And this is what I'm saying. We have to make them excited. And because of that, we would use it as a strategy. We said, okay, those persons who did not pass their homework or who don't pass their homework in this week, you won't be going. Listen, that's the quickest I see every homework come in, everything right. Why? Because they're motivated. We have to motivate children to learn. Yeah. They were really excited about it. Really excited about it.
Scripting a new way to get them out of the inner city attitude. So
absolutely.
And you could stay in the inner city. I'm not despising the inner city or anything like that, because I mean it's just a matter of helping elevate a person's thought process.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So these for cooking was I see a pot.
Absolutely. These are our girls, they're, I laugh. They always say handful of ring and can't do a thing. Well, our girls ain't gonna be having their handful of ring and can't do a thing, right? So we make sure that we empower them, so they know how to cook a meal. And watch this, we're not training them to cook for man, because that's another misconception we do with our children. We're always teaching them to do things for people. No, you got to do things because you got to realize the first important person in this equation is you. And so our girls, we taught them how to cook. We taught them how to sew. We taught them how to go to the shop and budget their money. Look at your money and look and see how. Look at this soya. Tomato paste costs $2. This tomato paste here costs 25 cents. Which one are you gonna get? We gotta teach. We gotta empower our girls. And then we had a competition. So we had this fruit. Again, what we do is we put them in groups so they can learn how to work with each other. And it's always, I don't want no cherry in this. You cutting that wrong. Listen, and I stand back and I let them try to solve their issues, because we have to teach our children conflict resolution. And this is what they learn when they start working in groups. What do? We guide them. We steer them in the right direction. We show them, look here, you only need to make all that noise for that. See if you could come to a compromise. These are lessons. These are life lessons that we're missing in the academic school.
Right. Awesome. So that's great. I almost want to go down there and show my hand and see if I could boil water.
Listen, don't say that too loud, because I'm ready to come right now and put your name right down and tell my team, look here, we got Mr. Nose on board, he coming to Troy's on it. But we would welcome. We asking more men to come on. I would say this too, Mr. Nose. We vet everybody that come to work with our children. My team call me the mother hen. Mother hen, like how you protect your children, like how a mother hen put her wings over her children and protect them. I mother hen my children. So you don't just pop up there and say, oh, I want help. No, I gotta do audit. I gotta do an audit on you when you come. I gotta find out, listen, you've been to jail. If you've been to jail, what you been to jail for? Yeah, why? Because one of the things that we want to make sure is important is our children are protected. And that's another thing that we're losing in our society. We're realizing that our children, even the set that don't make the news, work in the inner city, you'll find out a lot of innocent children are hurt. So we want to make sure that they're protected.
Awesome. Now I believe you said a couple of things too, that people should know about, and so forth. Madam Producer, you have one that you want to put up on the screen. So because when we look at that, how we learning in our society, and you're saying that people have to enjoy learning. You say we need to find creative ways to help children learn difficult concepts. I think the concept is only difficult because we don't know it. But once we know it,
absolutely. Absolutely.
But it's more important to enjoy learning rather than just obtain knowledge. Now,
and I'll say this too. I find when our children enjoy learning, it makes the teacher, it makes the person who's teaching the knowledge, it makes it easier for that person. And so, you don't have to pound them and almost keep on pulling and pulling. No, because they're enjoying it. So it's almost as if they don't even realize that they're learning it because they're enjoying it so much. And that's what I'm looking forward to education becoming an enjoyable space rather than just a space where we regurgitating information.
Right. Well, Madam Taylor, it's been great having you on this discussion. I promise you we'll be here an hour. So we want to wrap up the conversation now. But before we go, we always ask our guests to say what they would like to say to the general audience out there. But anybody who wants to partner with Journey International, that's retailers, will be the numbers on the screen right now. you can always reach it. That's the 242 in the front for those who are in Dubai or Canada or wherever else around the world. Just put 242. You can share a WhatsApp or whatever together. Because I know we have time zone differences and stuff, and we don't want you waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, all excited kind of thing. But what would you like to say to everybody? Okay. I asked you a lot of questions.
I want to say this. I don't know. I grew up in the church, so I don't know who sang this song, but whoever sang this, I believe the children are the future. And I believe that if we're going to develop a healthy country and a healthy world, we got to go back to the children. And I'm not talking about 16, 15, 14. Yes, those ages, we can still help those children. But I believe that if we condition our children from as early as the age of 5, positive thinking, trying to get them to look at themselves as if, listen, trying to help them to understand I'm important. My world don't revolve around me, but my world is important because I am in it. But I believe that a lot of our children, we're missing them because the way they feel about themselves. And we need to help our children feel better about themselves. And in feeling better about themselves, they will make better decisions and absolutely almost every time make a better place, make the planet a better place for all of us to live on.
That's awesome because, I mean, this whole idea of changing the way we teach or we educate, because, I left high school with just Bob Marley and baseball, but I became an engineer because somewhere along the way after high school, it clicked, right? And it clicked because people who were in my life. And you being in person's lives and the children's lives in a big way, like how you are, I take off my hat, and that's why we invited you on the show, and hopefully this show would have been of value to many out there, and by all means share it left, right, and center to all and sundry. We encourage it and so forth. If you want to chop up the video into different pieces and send different things to people, do that too, right? Because we just want the message to get out to help and build a new society and create this new built environment that I always talk about, and how we are to progress as a society. And
absolutely,
and so forth. So we'd like to thank you again, and we also thank all of those out there in social media who stayed on and watched from beginning to end, and those who came late and enjoyed the show as we go. We thank you all. We ask you to pause, think about it with intentional thought, and consider where we go from here, because this is only one life, our life, and our place that we have to live. So subscribe if you like the show. And like I said, share it again. And by all means, stay safe. Vaccinate or isolate. And that's our motto on the show. So, Madam Taylor, thank you kindly. We will look forward to having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
That we could drill down into one specific area.
I would be more than happy to come back. I'm more than happy to come back.
Yes, awesome.
Thank you so very much.
Great.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you also, and good evening to all.
Good evening.